going through. But God's mercy, God's steadfast love, God's faithfulness never comes to an end. And the word that is used there for steadfastness, the steadfast love of the Lord, is actually in the plural if it's of interest to you. In other words, the steadfast love of the Lord is so immense that it can't really be covered in the singular. And the word that is used of His love is actually a feminine word. It's the love of a mother. The love of a mother for her feeding child. Now, do you get this? Do you see what's happening here? Do you understand how vitally important this is? That the faithfulness of God is not something that simply exists when the band is playing and the army is marching and the sun is shining and all is well with our souls. No, the faithfulness of God is of vital information to us when the reverse is the case. When we're up against it, when we find ourselves approximating to this. And what you have here in this little section is just like somebody turned a big light on in the very darkness. That a pool of light shines out into the darkness of the circumstances. The steadfast love of the Lord never ceases, he says. His mercies never come to an end. They're new every morning. So in other words, if I'm going to continue to brood in this way, if I'm going to continue to reflect on circumstances as they are, if I'm going to continue to allow this to be the source of my depression, then so be it. But in actual fact, what I'm going to do is change my focus. And I'm going to focus on the fact that even though these things are as they are, even though God is behind this, even though we cannot squirrel away out of the reality that the dark side of providence is still the providence of God, that He cannot only be in charge of the healing, He has to be in charge of the cancer as well. He cannot only be in charge of the good, He's also in charge of the bad. He's never the author of sin, but He is sovereign over all these things. So Jeremiah is teaching us that it is when we face these dark things, when we face these deep difficulties, when we are confronted by circumstances that appear to simply wall us in and make it impossible for us to move, when our progress is impeded, when everything seems dark around us, when we think that we could never pray again and we could never give voice to another song of praise, it is in that context that he says, and this is what I bring to mind. This is what I bring to mind, and therefore I have hope. He's being transformed by the renewing of his